Good evening. I'd like to call the Nash County Board of Education meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we have joining us this evening elementary school students from Red Oak Elementary, Kaylin Mayfield, Cohen Mayfield, and Mackenzie Benson. Please come down front.
This one. We get the transport to She's got Thank you. Good for you.
Thank you so much. Now I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
The motion has been moved by Board Member Sharp and seconded by Board Member Lamb. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. At this time, I move that we approve the meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been moved and approved. And seconded, I'm sorry. All in favor? Yes.
I'm wondering why we have so many. At one time, we got minutes from last April till now. Why do we have so many at one time? Do we not do these monthly?
Yes, we're supposed to do them monthly.
I don't know why they're in there. But I'm assuming we approved them all. Oh, because you all.
This full up, but for some reason, they stopped getting added to the agenda automatically in April, and so we're just going back and making sure we've got all the minutes that had not been previously added. They've been added to the agenda so that you all can approve them, but going forward, they should be done. Yes.
Thank you. All right, all in favor, aye, say by, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, thank you. And next item on the agenda is recognitions.
So tonight, we would like to recognize the Nash County Public Schools Social Workers Team. This team has been nominated for the NCPS Hero Award for outperformance and excellence. Please come forward when your name is called. The social worker team includes Sheila Pittman, lead school social worker, Samantha Andrews, Christian Best, Benita Jenkins, Renee Kearns, Charlotte Little, Cynthia Pritchard, Justin Sweet, Christina Turner, Latoya Ward, Shay Williams, Latrice Woodard. These social workers serve schools throughout the district. School social work is a specialized area of practice within the board field of social work. In North Carolina, school social workers are licensed through the Department of Public Instruction. School social workers bring unique professional knowledge, skills, and perspective to the school system and the student services team and enhance the academic mission of Nash County Public Schools by providing services that strengthen home, school, and community partnerships. The Nash County Public Schools social worker team organized and sponsored a district-wide community service project to raise money for local community agencies. The project raised $4,851. The money raised was donated to the following agencies: Free Will Baptist Children's Home, My Sister's House, Ripple Effects, Autumn Care in Nashville, We Fit Incorporated, and The Reach, our Nash County Public Schools social worker team.
Awesome job. Thanks again to our social workers. All right, next we have our public input. Each month, a part of at least one regularly, scheduled board meeting will be set aside for citizens to address the board through public comment. A sign-up sheet will be available in the communications office for any individual or group to indicate their desire to address the board. The deadline is noon, the day of the board meeting. Any individual or group can sign up by appearing in person or by calling the communications office. The chairperson will decide the amount of time devoted to the public comments. The superintendent shall develop additional procedures to ensure that public comment sessions proceed in an efficient and orderly manner. Board members will not respond to individuals who address the board except to request clarification of points made. Except in the cases of emergency, information received during presentations will not be acted upon at the time it is received. It will take a unanimous vote of the board members present to take action on a presentation considered to be of an unusual or emergency nature at the time it is presented. Disruptions by any person or persons of a public meeting will be subject to action in accordance with General Statute 143-318.17. If the board does not hold a regular meeting during a month, the board will not provide a time for public comment at any other meeting held during that month, unless a majority of the board votes to allow public comment at the meeting, or unless the purpose of the meeting is a public hearing. Tonight, we do have 3 individuals signed up to speak. You will have 3 minutes each. The first individual is Dr. Holly Whistler.
All right, got a timer this time. Hello, everybody. I came in December. I'm going to pick up where I left off about some ideas and changes that I have related to the attendance policy, section 4400. One of the things I brought up was about Gen Zers, who are our current high schoolers. Gen Zers, self-drivers, care deeply about other people, strive for a diverse community, highly collaborative and social, value flexibility, relevance, authenticity, and non-hierarchical relationships. And while dismayed about inherent issues like climate change, has a pragmatic attitude about the work that has to be done to address those. This is research from Stanford University. And so because of the nature of Gen Z, right, and the fact that we can't go back to sort of the pre-COVID world when kids were at home learning. My daughter learned how to crochet during COVID. Nobody taught her. She watched YouTube. My other daughter learned cooking. She now cooks during COVID. So to go back and tell these kids that they need to go to school 8 hours a day, right, is kind of crazy, right? And I can give you hundreds of examples in my experience of students being late, frequently absent, who went on to be successful. One of your current teachers that's teaching for you right now was late all the time to earth science. And most of the time he was in somebody else's business trying to give them advice. And now he's a very successful teacher. Another college student of mine was late. He's now serving in politics, has a very successful career. And finally, another student of mine was late a lot to Avid. He now owns like 5 cars, is a big administrator at some big manufacturing plant, probably makes more than all of us combined. So let's just stop telling our kids that butts in seats means that you're always going to be successful, right? It's a lot more complicated than that. So, and this really comes from like a a place of need because, we saw what happened with COVID, but in my household, we've had a hard transition back on top of flu and on top of other illnesses, right? So first things first, can we please include virtual attendance thresholds for students in the attendance policy? My daughter had flu for 4 days. End of the 3rd day, she felt better, still had a fever. Guess what she did? She got on Canvas and she got caught up. And our teachers do an amazing job of putting everything on Canvas because they have full classrooms. And when 4 or 5 students get the flu, right, all at one time, it's easy for them to get on there and get their work done. So if we could just put in a virtual attendance threshold, it doesn't have to be 1-to-1, but can we give the kids a little credit for doing school at home and not worry so much about a butt in a seat, right? They're still participating in a academic activity. The next thing I'd like for you guys to address is the impact of disease patterns. My daughter was in one class and over half the class was out with flu. All of those kids missed, right? And now those kids are stressing because they're right at 10 days and they're getting letters and they're getting pressure. My daughter got a really odd email from a counselor that was like, how can we help you? She was just sick. She had the flu, right? We're doing everything we can healthcare wise. So thank you.
All right, next we have Emily Haley.
Good evening. My name is Emily Haley, and I'm here on behalf of the PTA at Inglewood Elementary School. I'm not sure if all of you are aware, but in the fall, Inglewood Elementary School's outdoor learning environment play equipment was removed because it had become such a liability on campus that it was no longer safe for the children to play on or even play around. And so therefore, we had the structure removed. The members of the PTA have spent a good amount of time researching outdoor learning environment facilities to discern what equipment would be best for the students at our school, taking into consideration what constitutes best practices, both physically and socially, emotionally for outdoor learning and play in grades 3 through 5. We have looked at different options for new play equipment that is highly rated both for safety and quality, and have met with 2 local companies that sell and install playground equipment in our area. One of these companies, Carolina Parks and Play, worked with Princeville Elementary School on their new outdoor learning environment and is currently working with Inglewood Baptist Church on theirs. Carolina Parks and Play specializes in incorporating inclusive elements into their play systems, allowing them to be partially or fully ADA compliant. And their business model is based on the fact that children learn best through play and will allow us to incorporate elements of math and science in our outdoor learning equipment. The cost for this endeavor is quite high. And while the PTA has raised at least $20,000 this year through school fundraisers, there is no amount of wrapping paper or candy apples that we can sell that will come anywhere close to the money necessary for such a project. We have reached out to local businesses and foundations for financial support of such a project, and we have been researching private and government grants to cover this cost. It was during this time that we discovered that many communities and school systems are using American Rescue funds to build and remodel playgrounds. We believe that Inglewood Elementary qualifies for such funds. While I do not have the most up-to-date numbers, around November of 2022, based on what is published with the federal government, it seems that Nash County still had about $30 million worth of funds the school board could use. We are asking that the school board consider $200,000 for Inglewood for such a project. We acknowledge this is a lot of money, but we have the research and the information to back it up and would welcome the opportunity to speak with each of y'all either individually or as a group, or we can provide more information in a written format that we would provide to y'all one-on-one. I'm available, as are many of our PTA board members that are here. We would love to talk to you about this. Carolina Parks and Play would also be willing to come in and speak to you about this and why that Carolina Parks and Play would be the best to replace Inglewood's playground, which is desperately needed. Thank you.
All right, and Danielle Reese.
Evening. So back in early January, a first grade teacher in Virginia walked into her classroom expecting a normal day, Hours later, she was shot. Not by a crazy adult that gained entry into the school, but by one of her students. This child was 6 years old. Multiple teachers and students reported threatening behavior by this student up until an hour before she was shot. The administrator failed to keep this teacher and other students safe. These threats are also happening right here in our city. I know for a fact it has happened at my child's elementary school and it was ignored. While we do have some amazing and productive and proactive administrators in our districts, we also have some that are like the one in Virginia. Known threats in our schools are being disregarded, dismissed, and ignored. How many incidents like this have to happen before adults wake up and start taking back control? Our schools are getting worse by the day because adults have left their backbones at home and are afraid to ruffle feathers. These are not bad children, but they are being guided through life by weak adults who are not holding themselves to a higher standard. These administrators are afraid to have their schools shown in anything other than a positive light and are willing to risk the lives of their teachers and students to make that happen. We have got to make a better change in our schools. We have amazing teachers leaving because they don't have the support they need. They do not feel safe and their voices are not being heard. Why would anyone stay in a job that does not provide these simple things? Why are administrators not being held to a higher standard in order to protect these schools and their children? It starts with the people in this room. As elected board officials, your job is to help create a safe, successful, and healthy school environment for our teachers and students. As parents, we can only do but so much from the outside. We rely on people like you to make decisions for our schools that will set everyone up for the path to success. This is not happening. Teachers and students cannot perform to their fullest when they are worried about their safety. It is time to stop ignoring these issues within our school system and actually do something about it. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is donation. Dr. Ellen?
Dear board members, please accept this request for the following donations. Benvenue Elementary School received the following grant. Goodwill Industries of Eastern North Carolina gave a grant of $15,000 to be used for student desk. Cedar Grove Elementary School received the following donations. The North Carolina Aquarium Society, in partnership with the North Carolina Aquariums, gave a grant for $1,250 to be used for class trip. Braswell Milling Company gave a donation of $250 to be used for a class trip to the North Carolina Aquarium. Southern Nash High School received the following donation. Nash County donated an ambulance valued at $15,000 to be used for the CTE Emergency Management Program.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept these donations with great gratitude. I second.
All right, the motion has been made by Dr. Chavis and seconded by Board Member E. Bullock. All in favor, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, next item is personnel recommendations. Ms. Wallace?
Chair Dr. Washington, present board members, good evening, everyone. The Personnel Recommendations Action Report, it has been submitted and reviewed on behalf of Dr. Ellis. Your approval is requested at this time.
So moved.
Second. Motion was made by Mr. Sharp, seconded by Ms. Thomas Bullock. All in favor, please let me know by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right, next item is Mr. Davis, Shannon Davis, timeline for opening of new Red Oak Elementary School.
Okay, good evening. We'll try to bring up a slide so you guys can see it a little bit better. This is the floor plan. This has been a challenging build, to say the least, with the labor market as it is, and receiving materials in a timely manner when we need them has Really made this process a little more challenging. So if you'll look right here on the screen, I'm gonna try to point, the K2 wing, not showing up very good on it. So, the K2 wing is the far right. That's what we're looking to open. The Red Oak kids in is this area here. We have all the teaching materials in, all of the furniture is in place. Teachers are setting up their classrooms. So that section of the building is in really good shape. If you'll come on down to 3, Tremaine, and drop south to, that's the art music area. They're actually putting countertops that came in today in that room. Those 200 classrooms are basically complete other than teaching materials. Hopefully this week we'll get them in. You'll come straight up to the media center. Media center is totally completed. Everything is set up. It's basically ready for students. The dining room is to the right. We have all the dining room tables in. It's basically ready for students other than some cleaning. The kitchen is not, but we're not planning on operating the kitchen until next fiscal year. We'll continue feeding out of Red Oak Middle. We'll have Red Oak staff, cafeteria staff feeding. So they're just been eating in the dining. And next year when we bring it full staff, then we'll start cooking. If you go back left, the admin is on your far left. All the furniture is in place. We're moving a lot of the materials in. They're getting those items set up. So basically that is complete. When we delayed opening after December and we saw we weren't going to make it, if you'll go back, I wish this clicker worked a little better. North to the second, we call it the 400 wing, which goes back out toward Red Oak Middle. There's a hallway, if he points right here, that turns back to the right. I'm trying to get those 6 classrooms opened so that we can put 4 second grade classrooms in there. That's one of the reasons we're stressing just a little bit on those 6 classrooms. They're putting carpet in today, casework's going in. But I didn't feel it was fair to have second grade classrooms locate in the K2 wing for 5 to 7 days. So we're trying to get those ready so they can set their classrooms up one time and move the kids in. As it stands now, if you go back left, we are putting a wall in, temporary wall at that hallway. So kids, contractors, it'll be basically finishings. It'll be paint, carpet, and casework. That's really all that's going to be left on those 8 remaining classrooms. If you come back down to the 500 hall, which heads back toward the gym, we're also putting a temporary wall there. 500 classrooms is basically the same thing. We're down to paint, carpet, and casework, which should be completed by the end of the month. We're putting those walls in place to make sure kids are away from contractors, which will be down to roughly 3 subs in the building. The gymnasium, we have it staged with the rest of the furniture, which goes into 4 and 5. The 6, which is basically, that's part of the construction, the very back, PE storage and things of that nature, book storage, all of that should be completed by the end of the month as well. Landscaping is started today, laying sod, and we're anticipating having a certificate of occupancy on Wednesday. We're shooting for that. It gives us Thursday and Friday if we have any issues, but we're hoping to do an opening house on the 13th and bringing kids on campus, the K2 kids on the 14th. Any questions? I know that was fast, but any questions?
So you're bringing which kids on campus?
It'll just be the Red Oak, the K2 kids.
So
Yes, and the contractor is going to give me about 3 weeks to get out of the old building, 3 to 4. We're still negotiating that. So they can tear it down and get the serpentine line built so that we can accommodate the balance of the children in August.
follow up, please.
Sure.
So cafeteria, you said the cafeteria will not be available. We will be serving food in this.
We'll just be serving in the dining room,
So-
just as we've been doing since last year. They've been cooking in the middle school and bringing it over to the elementary school serving.
Okay.
Yep. So nothing will change as far as that goes until August.
I just think about logistics as far as moving the food over.
Sure.
Because in the middle, in the elementary school, all that demolition, all that red clay and mud and everything else would make it hazardous just traveling back and forth.
Sure. There'll be a fence put up. So the existing drive coming in front of the school now is actually the last leg of the serpentine line. So that'll be utilized as well as they'll be able to access the paved area to the back of the dining room and still bring food in there. Any other questions? Sure.
Would be doing due diligence, but I didn't ask, all your life safety components, fire alarm and sprinkler.
We have been inspected to death.
We'll make sure.
Yes, sir. We've definitely, they've been in the building just about every day last week.
Any further discussion? Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
All right, Student Support Services and Operations Committee, Mr. Edwards.
We start off with introducing Dr. Farrow to introduce Mr. Willie Howard for the village update. Mr. Willie Howard. That's what I got. You tell me. So I stand corrected. So the village update was for information only during our last meeting, and we can move forward.
There are two items for information,
Yes,
and they were the village update and the Evolve body scanners presentation. Good
That's
job,
correct.
Mr. Edwards. All right, and moving on, the Academic Services and Accountability Committee.
All right, so we had one item for information only, but we had 3 action items. So the committee would like to bring to the board for full approval of those 3 items. So I make a motion that we approve those 3.
Second.
All right, so the motion was made by Ms. Thomas Bullock and seconded by Mr. Lamb. All in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, next item is Administrative Services and Operations Committee, Mr. Sharp.
As our committee met, and we have one item for action. The committee is making a full recommendation to the board that we have adopt the budget amendment and presented in our subcommittee. So
Second.
All right, and the motion has been moved by Mr. Lamb and seconded by Ms. Thomas Bullock. All in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. All right, Policy Committee.
Madam Chair, we have 12 policies that we need approval to lay on the table for 30 days. We talked about these at length at our policy meeting. I would like to move that we approve the 12 policies, 11 of them with substantive changes and 1 with minor changes to lay on the table for 30 days.
Second.
All right, the motion has been moved by Board Member E. Bullock and seconded by Board Member Thomas Bullock. All in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye. Opposition, same sign. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, motion carried. All right, so we're down to the superintendent's report.
So I want to first thank the professional development team. I'm gonna say Yolanda Wiggins. Last Friday, we had our Super Bowl Friday where we had 800 participants. This was secondary for their PD sessions. And also our elementary was doing Letterland, but I'd like to appreciate the professional development team. That was a great event. Thank you, Ms. Wiggins, for your help. Also want to congratulate our academic services and accountability team. They have been chosen and invited to present at the NCSD conference. I believe it's Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday. And the topic is accelerated growth, because that is definitely what that team has been doing. So I want to congratulate that team for being invited to do that. Thank you. February 9th at 6 o'clock, Connect, Inform, and Engage. The topic is high school registration. Please, high school, middle school parents attend. That is a big topic about registration. And one more event, February 28th, 3:30 to 6:30. The Nash Community College is having a career and technical education showcase. It's for K through 12 students, and their families are encouraged to attend. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ellis. It is February, and even though Pennsylvania's most famous groundhog emerged from his burrow and saw a shadow last week, declaring there will be 6 more weeks of winter, we are still excited about approaching the 100th day of school this week. In addition to February being Black History Month, the following national days occur during the month of February. International Day of Women and Girls in Science on February 11th. Valentine's Day, Frederick Douglass Day, Safer Internet Day, all on February 14th. Susan B. Anthony Day, February 15th. Random Acts of Kindness Day, February 17th. And as always, on behalf of the board, we appreciate all the hard work that's being performed throughout this district. Schedule of upcoming meetings. Committee meetings will be held on Monday, February 27th. And if there's March board meeting will be Monday, March 6th. And if there's no further business to come before the board.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Madam Chair, I'd
Yes.
just like to make mention and recognize that the JROTC program at Northern Nash has been taken off the removal list, so we'll maintain that program at Northern Nash.
awesome. Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Any other further business? If there's no further business to come before this board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It has been moved by Board Member Sharp and seconded by Board Member Jenkins. All in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.